Thanks.
All right, we are.
We fixed it. We're back. We're back. We're back.
We're back. We're back. We're back. Hopefully, we'll
Are
see.
we live everywhere? We're live everywhere, right?
I think so. If
Okay.
not, yeah, we're back live now on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. So we
All right. Oh,
have
yes, we are. We are live.
yes,
Yes.
we've gotten it
Okay.
back in
All
business.
right. Things that bring me joy when.
You know what we've learned across an entire season is you can't sweat the small stuff. You got to just keep on going, and figure it out so that everyone's experience is as meaningful and as interactive as possible, right? So that little
Absolutely.
box was just going to send us to the roof. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're back. So
I saw you were like, yeah, I was in Chicago and it was a great time. Like,
it was
that's
a great
all
time. I'm
he's
trying to figure
always
out
thinking about.
get that black void, that box that's just there out. So Chicago was great. Work is good. Happy to be back in conversation with you, interacting with our audience, with the podcast. How was your vacation? Because you had a legit, we have been waiting and preparing for this moment 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Tell us about it. How was it?
It was really good. It was really nice. We went to Black Mountain, North Carolina, which is 20 minutes from Asheville. We did go into Asheville a little bit, but I didn't want to do like a city thing. That was the whole reason why I chose to be in the mountains. But I did learn that I'm not much of a hiker. I don't like hiking. I could do a trail, like a flat land. I could walk for hours with you, but hiking, it's not really my thing. I don't like the fact that Phil was looking at the trail, trying to figure out which one we're doing. And while he's doing that, I'm reading the signs that are like, be careful of snakes with your dog, and there's going to be bears. And I know that there's animals, in the woods and stuff, but that kind of freaked me out a little bit, mostly for Cooper. I was like, well, I don't want anything to happen to my dog. And there's roots and trees and rocks, so you're constantly like looking down. I wanted to like look up and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Like constantly like, oh, I gotta go over this. You gotta carry everything on your back. I'm like, eh.
So yeah, that's a whole bunch of. I like the outdoors.
Yes.
For a day, and then I got my fix.
Yeah, like I was after like 15 minutes of going up this mountain. I was like, let's just turn around. Let's go on back. It's 15 minutes down, so it's 30 minutes of walking. Like, all right, I'm good. And like the ticks and stuff. I'm Cooper. I was worried about that, so I wasn't really mentally focused on the hike. I was kind of hyper aware of everything else, which again, I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to go on a hike to relax, but it actually did the opposite. So I wouldn't have known that if I didn't do that. So I learned something. I learned something about myself today or during the trip. So, but it was
feeling it. Awesome. Awesome. So do you feel as you've come back, do you feel rejuvenated? Do you feel recentered? Did you recalibrate? How many different words can I use for finding your Zen moment?
Yeah.
Were you able to do that?
I'm back, baby. I'm ready to go.
I love it. So here's the thing. When you just said that, what I thought about was you got yourself ready. You conditioned the space, your vacation, your summer vacation. I'm talking about like the next couple of weeks that you'll be on vacation, since school is out. You set yourself up to basically get prepared to relax. Isn't that crazy? How you went off and you did your thing, got off the grid, only to come back clear-headed to really enjoy relaxation. And I think sometimes we go to the place to get that relaxation, and that doesn't happen because we're exploring, we're doing all these different things, right? But what you were able to do was get that out of the way to come back to now I can just kind of chill and relax for real, for real. That's what's up. That's dope. Awesome.
Well, thank you. Thanks.
That is great. And you know, I'm excited because we had 2 weeks of no shows, no engagements through the podcast. And so I missed you, friend.
I
And
know, I missed you too.
I'm excited to talk about joy because that's going to be dope and experience it with our, audience. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great way to segue into what we're going to be talking about because we were just experiencing so much joy now. And what we like, I know you really enjoyed your trip to Chicago, and I'm also going to see you for sure in August. Like, I'm coming in August, so
yes,
I'll see you then. So yeah, there's a lot of good things floating around in my space. So I'm just breathing it all in and taking advantage of it because I know in a few weeks it's not going to be that anymore. So
it's going to all come back in terms of like the rigor, right? The fast pace, all that stuff. Yeah. Okay. Okay. As you take a drink, you're like, yeah.
That. So what are some things that have been bringing you joy in your life?
Well, we're gonna just jump right into the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, we were gonna do a TikTok, right? Like a TikTok takeaway, but
yeah. So I think we do have. I think we have a TikTok takeaway that's really,
all right.
And so the setup, everyone who's here watching and everything, Lo and I decided to. We usually do a TikTok takeaway because Lo, turn your phone off.
I know. So sorry.
I'm like, girl, turn your phone off. What's going on? You can text messages or reminders.
No, I'm good.
Like you have not been a teacher in a classroom before. Shame on you.
One time I kept, I usually keep my phone off, and then no one ever texts me during this time. So today I was like, I should turn it off, and I'm like, no one texts me during this time anyway. And the one freaking time I don't put my phone on. Anyways. TikTok takeaway.
Yes. So TikTok takeaways, we usually do at this point, we caught up and everything, and then we do some TikTok takeaways just because TikTok is such a fixture in our pop culture now. Instead of doing the TikTok takeaways that we normally would do, we decided that we would find some TikToks that just make you smile, right? Put a smile on your face and bring you this level of joy. I was nerding out, just to kind of set it up even more here, was nerding out prior to the show, as I, sometimes do, and was trying to decide, what's the difference between, when you say joy and when you say happiness, right? And the difference that I found in multiple places, so that usually means it's a little consistent in terms of how people are orienting and thinking about it. Hopefully that's what it means, is that with happiness is like an external, it can be a fleeting thing. You can be happy one moment and not the next, right? Joy, though, when you think about joy, it is a deeply rooted, way of being, okay? And so when I think about these TikTok videos, that visceral type of feeling of you feel good. I feel like that's an indicator that it's a joy that you're experiencing and not just happiness, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just being too meta. I don't know, but anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at
it. You were like, I'm nerding out, so
right. I'm buying time as I know how to do. No, I'm kidding. Okay, here we go. We'll take a look at these TikTok takeaways here, you all, in just a second. Okay, here's the first one. Let's take a look at it.
Okay.
There goes the crackhead that I see each morning. There goes the crackhead that I see each morning.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I can't say that I haven't looked like that 5:30 in the morning. Like,
Why did they come at their baby like that though? Why did they
so
come at their baby
hard.
talking about like crackhead? Like, I mean, the look. I mean, come on, definitely, got some crackhead-ish styles going on that hair. But that is so wild. That baby is going to be able to come back to this years later as an adult. Like, Mom, why you put me on blast like
You
that?
dragged me. You dragged me real hard. Like
Oh my
the
goodness.
hair. It was just straight.
Just a lot. Yeah. Like,
But you cannot
so-
watch that video and not giggle.
no, it just made you feel like kind of like, oh, yeah. All right, let's look at this second. Let's look at this next one.
Damn.
That look.
That baby needs to play poker. You know what I mean? Like, give that baby a good hand and play poker with that baby.
Yes. That
Damn.
is so funny, and it's not going away. It's great. Oh, it did. Did it go away?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's gone.
I was like, okay. I'm like traumatized from before.
I know. That one episode, man, really
Yeah.
threw you through a loop.
And yeah, the start of this one did too. Okay. Hopefully those TikTok takeaways, those TikToks gave you all some joy, some laughter in your day as much as they did, for us, because truly hilarious. That face was like, I'm so pissed that my bottle's not there anymore.
He didn't even blink. He didn't even blink.
Not a blink at all. Right. A straight mean mug for real.
Wow.
For real. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So joy.
Mhm.
Talking about joy. You asked me, things that brought me joy. Now I'm gonna backpedal just a bit, and when you think about just in general, is that what you're asking? Like in general, joy, or
Yeah, just like in general.
yeah, wow. Okay, so I think for myself, honestly, things that bring me joy are opportunities to spend time with loved ones, family, spending time with friends. Anytime I am plugged in to something that is engaging or the right type of challenge. And what I mean by that is if I'm learning something new and it's a little bit of a challenge to kind of push me a little bit. You asked for probably not all that, but but right, immediately when I think of like the immediate, like what brings me joy, spirituality, centering myself, definitely, praying consistently, like routine of waking up and being in a state of gratitude. But yeah, so I want to talk a little bit more in detail with some of that stuff, but I want to hear from you too. Like, what do you think? What initially would you say brings you joy?
It's very similar to what you're saying. Mostly like just friends and family. Like, we actually had a few people respond to our Instagram. Thank you for responding. I have to agree with our friend Elise. She said things that bring her joy are knowing that our friends and family are happy. And when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, like that always makes me feel good when I know everyone I know and love and care about is just like good and healthy and happy.
Yeah.
My dog brings me joy. Donuts, yes. Food, that is, I would agree. I am a food person. If I'm in a bad mood, just bring me some food. That'll bring me some joy as well. And also, similar to what you said, just waking up every morning and knowing that like I'm able to make my own choices and do what I want to do and focus on myself and my whatever part I want to focus on, like whether it's my physical health or my mental health or my emotional health, I'm able to wake up and say, okay, today I'm focusing on this. And that makes me really happy that I can do that, that I have that type of, I don't want to say control. Yeah. Like I have that type of control in my life that I'm not constantly spinning out. I can kind of pull myself in and say, okay, like, no, Lauren, you can you can focus on this today. You have that time and you have that energy. So
I love it. Awesome. So yeah, I love that. I love that. I think that anytime I love talking about, joy and having conversations around, different things that you do to fill your cup or to just replenish yourself. In thinking about just I don't even know if it's the elephant in the room, because it's not really the elephant in the room. I think it's just, we're all kind of exhausted by it, but the year and a half ish or so that we have, all existed in. Some have, been better off than others. Think about, I was thinking about it earlier today about like this global pandemic, right? But then you think about like the United States more locally around this time last summer, like racial tensions that were, heightened, but not, it wasn't a new thing, right? It wasn't a new thing. It's still to this day not, figured out, right? There's
right.
lots of work to do. But when you think about all of that swirling, okay, the economy not doing so well, this time last year, that's a lot of stuff to be it's kind of depressing.
It's heavy. It's very heavy. Yeah.
Very heavy, and there's not a lot of hope in any of that. What did you do during, the most strenuous months of this global, dual pandemics that we have been in, right? I'd say dual pandemics around the coronavirus, but then also, the social justice, racial justice, like reckoning that we're in at this moment in time. People, depression and anxiety probably ticking up at astronomical levels. Like, what did you do to stay grounded and to stay joyful?
Okay. So I agree with you that it was very heavy. So ignoring those feelings and not absorbing those things would not have helped me become a more joyful person. I think not grieving or feeling those angry emotions, I think you need to go through that, clear your mind, kind of a thing, cleanse in a way. And this, I know this is like annoying now, but having all like the Zoom calls, connecting with friends and family, that was really nice, especially like the first 3-4 months of the pandemic. Being able to connect with people like that was good, because I'm a very social person. I'm sure everyone is on some level. So that was really hard for me to absorb all those heavy issues, feel the anger, feel the sadness, and then not be able to like go hang out with your friends and family. And so having those Zoom calls were really nice. Moving my body was another big thing. Shout out to Jazza Dre. She helped me a lot. I actually did a few of her, she did like a Zoom call thing as well. So like I said, like tuning into that once a week with her really helped. And yeah, I think and taking that time to say, okay, Lauren, really focus on yourself. Because I feel like before the pandemic, it was so easy. It was so easy to throw yourself into something else. But when you go outside, you have to stay inside. So I decided to focus on myself.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, no, I mean it's pretty similar. Lots of similarities in terms of the things you said up top. So definitely, I found myself initially really being excited about the whole Zoom world, and being able to connect not just with one person virtually, but like lots of people in the same space, and kind of just playing around with it. And I remember being on Zooms, and it'd be like 8 to 9 people on it, just like talking trash and just just being silly
Yeah.
and goofy,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was really fun. And my family, we did a thing where we were connecting once a week to play like a game. We connected to do some like yoga ish type of breathing and
Cute.
stretching exercise type of things because just wanted to lean into that the value of making sure that you stay physically fit and moving. So that I think was really really helpful for me in terms of joy or sustaining joy. I think that the big hitter things for me, honestly, was I began at the start of the year, before anything got kind of like shut down and locked down and stuff. Really doing some research. A friend of mine in Austin, Texas, shout out Carly, had mentioned this author of this guy by the name of Cal Newport, and he's all about like digital minimalism, like decluttering your life because of like the digital like noise that's there. And so I was doing some like stuff with that, and I started researching it, and it really became really interesting. And I did an actual like a presentation to my organization I was with at the time around like this idea of like you don't need social media, you don't need these things. Now,
Bite
granted,
your tongue. I'm just
I
kidding.
know, I know. Like TikTok
Bite
takeaways,
your.
baby.
I know.
TikTok takeaways all day. What you talking about? But no. So
Bite
in
your
the sense
tongue.
of as I evolved and I learned more about like this idea of digital minimalism, it started to become true. This idea of it's fine to be connected and be plugged in, but what you're plugged into. Sometimes we get so inundated with stuff that you're getting fed these things that you're like, this is of no benefit of use to my being, right?
Yeah.
And so being more cognizant and aware of that. So I was doing all that work prior to getting shut down, right? Once everything we got on lockdown and things really started becoming like, whoa, this is a lot, right? Was already kind of in that headspace of doing less to get more,
Mhm.
and so I think that for me, my spiritual like stance around like praying, meditating, spending time, just like cultivating my like spirituality, my Christianity, was really, really valuable. Lots of quiet time to just meditate and do all that.
Mhm.
Um, the last thing I think was really this idea of I, I, I'm good with like goals in terms of like establishing something in the future to work towards. And so I said to myself, you are going to be physically better than you were prior to this coming out. And so I was working
Mhm.
out like crazy, going running outside in the mornings around like the river there in Connecticut, working out in the gym and stuff. And just really making sure that like I didn't. It was just a goal of mine. I wanted to, if I was going to be sitting around, do something if I could,
Mhm.
as much as I could. So that brought me joy. And then just looking forward to what could be once this all like came
Mhm.
a little less. But yeah,
Yeah, I
that
agree.
thing. Yeah. What when you think about I'm a hard shift, is that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you think
Well,
about as you've grown up, right? We've gone through different experiences. Um, when did you kind of come to this like aha of perpetually 28? Whoa, I'm not as wet behind the ears as I thought I was. I'm actually grown now. Um, when did you realize that because of something that brought you joy, like doing something that brings you joy or being a part of something? How did it click to like, oh, this thing that brings me joy means I'm like getting older?
yeah, absolutely. I totally know what you mean. I briefly talked to you about this earlier, but I guess I don't have a carpet. I guess I have a rug. But when I vacuum my rug and I get those like really nice lines, you can't tell me anything
Mm-mm.
because those lines are so nice. Like I love that. I'm a big. Oh, another thing I do too. Um, if I like want to create headspace for myself, or if I'm like, okay, I'm tuning into me now. I
Mhm.
have to clean the area that I'm in. So like
Mm.
or like clean the house. Like the house has to be clean in order for me to cleanse and be
Okay.
joyful. What about you?
I'm like,
I can keep going on and on and on and on, but
no, I think so. I'm like anal retentive with things, and maybe a splash of like OCD. You've been to my like place before, um,
yeah,
and I'm not saying it's like pristine because it's not, but like in terms of like neat and all, But I definitely I'll find myself. It's like if there's a something hanging on the wall and it's crooked, like I cannot leave the space without like straighten it back out. Is something out of place. Like I literally am moving. I'm in the process of moving right now, but I had to organize a little bit to make it look as if it's not so chaotic. Over here is chaos. Over here is chaos, but y'all can't see all that
no,
because I couldn't look at the screen and see all that chaos and be able to like concentrate. That's how I know I'm old, and that's how I
yeah.
know um,
Or like if you go,
neatness brings me
yes,
joy, right?
yes, yes,
Before, when I was younger, I'm like, I don't care about all that, but like now, yes, like if my bed is not made, I can't keep walking past the door.
I do feel like an adult when I like make my bed. I'm like,
Mhm.
look at me.
Look at that! Look at that! You're like, I'm
And
an
then
adult.
yes, and then you go to and then you're walking to your bedroom and you're like, look at that. My fucking
Mhm.
bed is made like an adult. Yeah, it's a great feeling. That is a really good point. Making your bed, yeah,
You
that's
lying? You lying? You just closed the door. You just closed
no.
the door.
I mean, I don't make my bed all the time. No, I do close my door. Yeah, I do. I don't make my bed all the time, but when I do make my bed, I'm like, this is I should do this all the time, but I don't. I will say this too. When you're at a restaurant and you're like, oh, there's going to be like four of us or, more than two. And they're like, yeah, sure,
Mhm.
come on in. And you don't have to wait. I'm like, yes, I love it.
Yeah,
And it's not super loud.
yeah,
And you could see everyone. I'm a big fan of
yeah,
the circle table. I love a good circle table. Yeah, all those little things. There's actually
yeah.
funny that we're talking about this. One time I was in the car and I was drinking like hot chamomile tea on my way to
Mhm.
work, and the radio was on, and it was like a song about like party all day and party all night, one of those songs. And I actually remember thinking to myself and went, oh, no, thank you. And I like sipped my tea.
Yeah.
I'm like, gross. No, but also a nice hot cup of tea. I love that. That's nice.
Yeah, okay. You are whoa, pause. I'm like, don't give away too many of your like I'm like, you're like, I like
I'm
tea.
old.
I like tea. I'm like,
I
girl, come
love
on.
tea.
Is that
Nice
tea?
light.
Is it a Long Island iced tea, or is it like just like chamomile? You're like, it's a chamomile or oolong tea.
A good sleepy tea. Oh, give me a good sleepy tea. Sleepy tea time. Woo!
I am totally razzing you because I was like, do I drink a cocktail or do I drink tea tonight? So
Yeah, so boom.
when you're making those type of like choices and pitting those two options against each
Oh,
other, that's
yeah, right,
like
right.
what gives me
Yeah.
joy. Yeah, it's so funny, so funny. So wanted to ask you a couple other things here, Lo, about like joy and stuff. Now that we have more of, and I'm going to be very clear on this, right? Because I think that we have to, um, as public figures, because we're public figures now, right?
We are.
Like in our heads, as public figures, it's important for us to always try to message as best possible, like information that is clear and concise and consistent. When you think about this idea of things you can look forward to now that we're able to like move about a little bit more freely, we are still in a pandemic. We're saying that to acknowledge it as a real thing. Um, However, we all live in the space that we live in the United States, and there's guidance that now says because of all the things that I'm not even privy to talking about, we're rule followers. The rules say we can move about a little bit more. So that's what we're going to be talking about. What, Lo, are you excited to do now that we have more flexibility to move and shake a little bit?
Yes. When we were in Black Mountain, one of the first things we did is we went to a brewery, and in the back, there was live music. And I looked at Phil and I was like, I think this is the first time we've heard live music since the pandemic. So that really, I love that. I love being able to go out safely and listen to some live. I don't care what type of music at this point. I'm like, I will listen to it if it's live.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it yet. I'm still a little nervous, but I want to do a karaoke bar so bad. I really want to do a karaoke bar. So I'm looking forward to that when it's a little bit more safe. But and I need more open mics. I want to do like more like comedy joke open mic stuff. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. Oh my gosh, you got lots of things. I was like, basic. I'm like, I'm so happy I can go and have a beer and a shot at a bar.
That too. I love that.
Like, I mean,
people watching.
I could definitely do without it because I, we obviously have done without it. But I'm telling y'all this right now. If I'm gonna be real with all of my like everything, yes, I'm super excited that I can go to a bar and be like, can I please get an IPA? Can I please get like if it's not even an IPA, let me just get a local like Bud Light and down a shot with it, and just for the sake of the ritual of doing it.
Yes. Having someone else do it for you, because that was a big thing during the pandemic. Remember, we were always like cooking for ourselves, and it's like, it's so nice to be like, I want a lasagna, and you just go make it for me.
Yes, and like, so yeah, totally like the social scene for sure. Was able to go when I was in Chicago to the Art Institute, and so cultural things. I'm really excited to be able to engage and like just do more culture related things again, because I realized, I'm not a person that's going to spend 4 hours at the Art Institute at all. But having the ability to walk in and go to an exhibit that I really wanted to see and then leave, I just love that. I mean, it's very, like privileged to be able to do that type of stuff. But just really, I appreciate and have a newfound sense of like gratitude for having those things. More accessible again, so it's great. It's been nice to be able to know that I can plan to do things with friends. I can plan to do things with families.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, and with people, you could do it with people. Yeah, that's fun.
That is awesome. So, Lo, short and sweet today regarding conversations. Wanted to bring us back into conversation together after we've been away for so long, it feels, on some lighthearted things, talking about joy. Did anyone else, so you mentioned Elise, she was able to interact. Any of our other like followers or fans?
Yes. Let me pull it up right now. I love that. Our fans. We have here, Leah said people, sunshine, and flowers.
Love it. Flowers.
Yes, to
being able to
sure.
Go out and look at flowers. Yeah, love it.
Yes. Flowers, yeah. Flowers do. A fresh batch of flowers, like in a nice vase in your kitchen. That's nice.
Yeah.
I don't think that was that. And then Elise responded. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Perfect. I'm like just super pumped that we were able to talk about the stuff that like, because I'm curious to hear from you. My last thought here, and then we can like move to rapping or whatever. But I was thinking about it, and I've been thinking about it, this time last year up until now, present, and the idea of when you think about joy, right? Sometimes there's this struggle, this tension around, are you given permission to be joyous even in like crap, right? To where there was a conversation I remember last year where all the stuff was going on, swirling and stuff. Oh, Leah, you're so sweet. You two bring me so much joy.
Oh,
Oh,
thanks.
so sweet. But like when you think about joy, right? And I'd be curious to hear from anybody who who's out there, watching when things are crappy, right? Shitty
Mhm.
as they can be. Is it still okay to acknowledge joy? Where there were times this past year where I was just like, "Ugh, I don't know, is it okay to like tell a joke? Is it okay to laugh because there's so much heartache, so much like challenge and grief that's out here? Would it be insensitive to be joyous? What are your thoughts? Like, what is there a line? Is there a fine line? Just really curious to hear from you and anyone else who's out watching.
Uh, I think I think once you kind of similar to what I said before, when you're able to identify and process those like icky, I guess like in the moment while you're processing it, I think it would be hard to find joy. Not that it's inappropriate. I think it'd be hard to do that. But once it's processed, I think it's absolutely okay to find some joy. But I mean, when I'm thinking of joy, I know you mentioned like comedy and stuff, but joy can be putting on a song. Like I don't think that's if you're like really sad and
Mm-hmm.
you process that and then you're like, you know what, I'm gonna put on my favorite song right now. I don't think that's inappropriate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I really answered the question, but joy can be so many different things. But as far as comedy goes, I think it can be done in a nice way. I think
Okay. Yeah.
it could be done. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that perspective and like your explanation. And I think what I gathered is like the idea of there's a time and place, and reading the room, not being aware of what's happening,
Right.
and then like the idea of avoiding being tone deaf around stuff,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
To where that makes sense. That makes sense. I was just recalling some of those like massive Zoom sessions that people were on. Sometimes it was just like we were all kind of paralyzed almost around, do I meet you the same way that I normally would, be like, yo, what's up?
Mhm.
Or do I just like kind of wait? Because even in that, yo, what's up? If it comes off the tone of that, if it comes off as like, did you read what happened 5 minutes ago? Or did you look
Mhm.
at the news? Like, and so I feel like the push and the nudge that I have with that is for me, even in the midst of like challenge, um, you have to reserve and give yourself that space, because to find joy, because if you don't, you get swallowed up. You literally
Yeah.
will get swallowed up by all of the bad, because we live in a world that is perpetually shitty and has lots of stuff going on, right? To where I think we have to be able to like acknowledge that even in the shit, you have to do that due diligence of reserving and finding or holding space, or being okay if someone else is, finding joy, because that's also, a part of life. And so that was just a thing that I was thinking about. Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
That's wow. You like really dug deep. You really nerded out on this. No, I'm just kidding. I was like, I like Starbursts, and
I'm grateful that we can go to the bars, and I'm like, what time is it? 'Cause I'm like, okay, I'm
No, you're not. No, you're
not gonna do
secretly
that.
not.
No. Hey, what's coming up?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So it's a joyous occasion, but it's also like a little sad. Next week is our last episode of the season, so we're gonna have our season finale. Woo!
Yes, we made it. A whole season.
We did it. We
What's
freaking
up?
did it. Jay and I were like, we're gonna make a podcast, and we did it, and we did a season of it. Looking forward to season 2. If you were a guest on the show at any point, please make sure that you tune in next week because we have a little surprise for you guys.
Yes.
So please make sure you tune in. And if you are not a guest, please make sure that you tune in as well. We're gonna
turn up. You turn up.
We're just gonna be like talking about like what we did for like a reflection, like a happy little reflection. And if our guests would like to join us, please do so. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. Should we do like fancy, smancy, like dress up and have champagne and?
You know, I'm gonna be settled into my new place by then. I feel like I want to, if it's a celebration, it's a whole season. We did this, okay?
Yeah, right.
Let's leave a mark. We got to leave a mark.
Yes.
So I'm definitely gonna be,
To
in
the
my,
nines.
of course. We're gonna have some champagne. You got to be right for champagne. Come on.
Yes, hell yeah. Okay, yay!
Perfect. Love it,
Okay.
love it. You guys don't want to miss next week. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have lots of pulling out all the stops for this season finale because it's been a great season and we want to celebrate with all of you who have stood by and stuck with us throughout all of the technical glitches and everything. But anyways, we'll get more to that next week and reminisce. Do some reminiscing with that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, I'm Jay.
And I'm Lo. And we are perpetually 28 because it just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going. Oh,